So Bob wanted to marry a princess in order to become king of that great kingdom. I will never allow that to happen. What should I do now to prevent him from becoming king? Felix, Bob's best friend, said, "Okay, I will pay some bad boys to kidnap and kill the princess, and I will forge a lie against him." A few hours later, Felix went to Bob's house to feign an apology in order to find out when Bob and Adana would be traveling. "What are you doing in my house?" Bob asked furiously. "Bob, I actually came to apologize. Please, I am very sorry for what happened recently. Please forgive me. I just remembered all of the wondrous roles you have played in my life thus far. And please, I have decided to accompany you to the village." Felix faked an apology. "It is okay, Felix. I have forgiven you. I do not hold any grudges against you, and you are more than a friend to me," Bob said. "Thank you very much. Princess, I sincerely apologize for the way I spoke to you." "It is fine, Mr. Felix," Adana replied. "So, Bob, when are we going?" Felix asked. "We will be traveling to Kasasa Kingdom first thing tomorrow," Bob replied. "Wow, I have heard a lot about the Kasasa Kingdom, and I cannot wait to visit for the first time," Felix said. "Trust me, you will enjoy the kingdom," Bob said. "I cannot wait. Please, I want to return to my shop," Felix said. "All right, Mr. Felix. Thank you very much for everything." Adana appreciated him. "Felix, I will call you tomorrow. Thank you very much," Bob said. 3 hours later, Felix met with 2 thugs that helped him with his dirty jobs, and he told them about Princess Adana and Bob. He eventually told them to kidnap Adana, tie her up, and wait for his directive to kill her, but not to harm Bob. The next morning, Felix arrived at Bob's house with his travel bag, which surprised Bob because he had not expected him. A few moments later, they got into the car, and on their way back to the palace, Felix faked a call. "Hello, Bola." "What? What happened? Which hospital? I will be there right away," Felix exclaimed. "What happened, Felix?" Bob asked. "Bob, there is a serious problem, man," Felix said. "Mr. Felix, what's going on?" Adana asked. "My neighbor just told me that my mother collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Please, I need to get to the hospital right away. There is no one around to care for her," Felix replied. "Babe, please let us accompany him to the hospital," Adana said. "No, please, you guys should go ahead on your journey, but please give me your address so that I will come as soon as they discharge my mum from the hospital," Felix replied. "No, Felix, you are my best friend, and your mother is like a mother to me, so we must accompany you to the hospital," Bob insisted. "Thank you very much, Bob and Princess Adana, for your concern. However, I do not want to spoil your plans for today. Instead, please give me the palace's address, and I will come as soon as my mother recovers," Felix said. Following that, Bob and Adana gave Felix 500k to use to look after his mother. Then they proceeded on their journey. After they left, Felix called the thugs and told them to be on alert that Adana and Bob were on their way. He then went straight to his shop. So, when Bob and Adana drove for about 2 kilometers, they met a funny-looking checkpoint comprising 2 men not wearing police uniforms but holding sophisticated rifles. They approached the car, pointed their guns in their direction and said, "We are kidnappers. Respect yourself and come down." They then kidnapped Adana, but allowed Bob to go as instructed by Felix. Felix ordered them to tie her up and wait for his command to kill her. "Am I dreaming? Someone should wake me up from my sleep. Oh, I am finished. What would I tell the Queen and the people of Kasasa Kingdom?" Bob exclaimed. Bob rushed to the nearest police station and filed a report. He then drove home, saddened that he would not be able to return to Kasasa. The next day, Bob called Adana's mother and informed her about what had happened to Princess Adana. And as soon as the queen heard that Adana had been kidnapped, she slumped, and the palace maids and maidens rushed her to the hospital. She eventually recovered, but she began crying non-stop. 3 days after they kidnapped Adana, Felix called the thugs on the phone and instructed them to kill Adana, and then he proceeded to Kasasa Kingdom to tarnish Bob's image. "Guy, what are we still waiting for? Let's go and kill that girl and leave here," one of the thugs said. "Okay, let's do it," one of the thugs said with a deep baritone voice. When they got to where they were hiding Princess Adana, one of them pulled out a sharp small knife and was about to stab her. "Why do you want to kill me?" Adana asked. "Shh, keep quiet," the thug said with a baritone voice. "Please spare my life, and I will give you guys 10 million right away," Adana said. The knife fell from his hand unexpectedly as soon as he heard 10 million. "How will you give us the money?" they asked. "I am going to use your phone," Adana responded with a low, weak voice. "Casket, this girl is weak and hungry. Rush to that nearby eatery and get rice and chicken for her and return quickly," one of the thugs said. A moment later, Casket brought the food, which they handed over to Adana, and after she finished eating, she asked for their phone. "Are you sure you do not want to use it to contact the police?" they inquired. "I am not a child. I want to use it to log into my bank mobile app and transfer the money to you." "I want to get out of here," Adana said. "Casket, give her your phone and let her do whatever she wants with it." After Casket gave Adana his phone, she logged into her bank mobile app and transferred 10 million to them. When they received an alert for 10 million instantaneously, they were overjoyed and began hailing Adana. "Medellum? The Mdellum?" they both said in baritone voices. "Who sent you guys to kill me?" Adana asked. "Don't worry. Let's show you the way out," Casket replied. "I will give you guys another 5 million if you tell me who sent you to kill me," Adana said. "Casket, let's tell her now. Don't forget this is business," he said with his baritone voice. "Mdellum, are you sure you will not expose us?" Casket asked. "I don't have the slightest issue with you guys. I only want to know the person who is after my life," Adana responded. "Okay, take the phone and make the transfer first," Casket said. They gave her the phone, and she transferred 5 million to them before logging out of her mobile app. After Casket received the alert, he informed Adana that Felix was the one who sent them to kill her. She was so shocked to hear that. "But why did he send you to kill me?" Adana asked. "Medellum, we don't know. We only do our job. Let me show you the way out of here." "Before I go, do you have any evidence to show that Felix sent you?" Adana said. Casket brought out his phone and played the voice calls they had with Felix from the point he consulted them to the last call pretending his mother was in the hospital. "We are pure businessmen. We do keep evidence," Casket said in his baritone voice. Adana then pleaded to get the phone recordings from them, but they declined. "I will give you another 5 million if you give me," Adana said swiftly. They swiftly gave her the phone again to make the transfer. She transferred the 5 million, and they gave her the phone audio recordings. Eventually, Adana was set free, and when she left, they said, "Casket, we are not safe, and I do not trust that girl. Let us flee to Lagos or Port Harcourt with this money." "Guy, you are right, man. Let us relocate quickly." When Adana got to the major road, she took someone else's phone and called Bob. And when Bob heard Adana's voice, he almost went crazy. "Please tell me where you are. Are you all right? Please tell me where you are currently," Bob said anxiously. Adana told Bob where she was, and he drove as fast as he could to pick her up. On the way home, Adana told him everything, and Bob was stunned when he learned it was Felix who wanted to kill Adana. "Why would Felix want to kill you?" Bob asked, confused. "That is the same question I keep asking myself," Adana replied. "Babe, I am going to arrest him today and then sue him," Bob said angrily. "Babe, calm down. Have you suddenly forgotten that I am an international lawyer? Do not worry yourself. Leave everything to me, and I will prove to Felix that I am a lioness. He just stepped on a python's tail," Adana said. "I never knew Felix could do such evil to me," Bob muttered. "That is why you have to be careful how you trust your friends, because all that glitters is not gold." "You are absolutely correct. Please, I do not want Felix to know I am still alive. So when you get home, just carry our bags, and we will rush back to the palace before my mother dies as a result of me," Adana said. "The Queen was very worried and sad. Please let me call her and inform her that I have found you," Bob said. "No, do not call her. I want to surprise her," Adana said. "Okay, my princess, I have really missed you." "I miss you even more, my king." When those thugs entered a bus to travel out of the town, they called Felix and told him to send them their balance, that they had killed Adana. After that, Felix settled them and went to Kasasa Kingdom to inform the Queen that Bob had killed Adana. "Who are you?" the palace security asked. "My name is Felix, and I came to see the Queen for significant reasons," Felix said. "Wait, I am coming. Let me inform her." "Your Majesty, there is someone at the gate to see you," said the palace security. "I do not want to see anybody," the Queen responded with teary eyes. "Ma'am, the Queen said she does not want to see anyone," the palace security said. "Tell her I came to reveal something about Princess Adana to her," Felix replied. The security returned to the Queen, and as soon as she heard Princess Adana, she instructed the guard to let him in. "Greetings, Your Majesty," said Felix. "You are welcome. Are you from this kingdom?" the Queen asked. "I am not from this kingdom, Your Majesty," Felix replied. "So, what brings you to my palace?" the Queen asked. When Felix was about to respond to the Queen, Onowu, the Prime Minister, and the King's cabinets arrived at the palace to discuss Princess Adana's kidnapping case. "Greetings, Your Majesty," they greeted. "Oh, thank God you all arrived at the right time. Let us listen to what this man has to say about Princess Adana." "Mr. Man, please continue," the Queen said. "My name is Felix. I am Bob's best friend. I came in respect of what happened to Bob's fiancé, the princess of this kingdom," Felix said. "Please speak quickly. We are eager to hear from you." "I caught Bob red-handed when he killed Princess Adana in a bush, but I could not confront him or shout right away because he was with two bad boys," Felix said. The Queen and some of the King's cabinet members believed Felix because they assumed Bob had killed Adana because of the mysterious goddess. "Bob had the guts to kill my only hope. Bob and I swear with my late husband's grave that I will deal with him and leave no stone unturned until he is hanged," the Queen exclaimed. "Your Majesty, I still find it extremely difficult to believe that Bob killed the princess," Onowu said. "Young man, are you sure of what you just said?" one of the King's cabinets asked. Bob and Princess drove into the palace, and when they came down, Bob glanced at Felix's car. "My princess, this is Felix's car," Bob said. "I do not believe it, but let us go inside anyway," Princess Adana responded as they walked inside the palace. "Sir, I swear with my life that I mean what I just said. Bob is my best friend," I cannot forge such a lie against him," Felix said. Bob and the princess entered unexpectedly. "Who did you just call your best friend? What are you doing in my father's palace?" Princess Adana asked. Felix stammered. The queen rushed over and hugged her daughter, Princess Adana. Felix, what? Bob asked. "What's going on here?" Onowu, the Prime Minister, asked, confused. "Onowu, please ask this man standing here what he did to me," Princess Adana said. "Mr. Man, what did you do to the Princess of Kasasa Kingdom?" Onowu asked. "I did nothing," Felix lied, and Adana slapped him furiously. "Tell my people what you did to me, or I will order guards to slaughter you here and nothing will happen." Adana said. Felix could not utter a word. "Mr. Man, can you speak now?" Onowu commanded. Sorry, my princess." "It was the devil's handiwork," Felix replied. "What did you do to my daughter?" the queen asked. Felix could not respond to the queen because he was staring at them with fear. "Well, since he does not have a mouth to talk, let me help him out," Bob said. "No, my king, I will speak because I was the victim," Adana said. "We are all ears, my princess," Onowu, the Prime Minister, said. Princess Adana narrated everything to them, and they were extremely angry. Thereafter, the Queen also explained the lies he forged against Bob. "How could you be so wicked and heartless?" one of the King's cabinets asked. "Bob, forgive me. I am sorry. It was out of envy and jealousy. I never wanted you to be greater than I. That is why I kept praying for your downfall. And that is also why I took you to that river to see the goddess. I wanted the goddess to ruin your life." Felix murmured. "Felix, despite everything I did for you, I gave you 80% of the money you used to buy your house. I opened a profitable business for you, but you had the audacity to pray for my downfall and conspire to ruin my life. Felix, it will never be well with you. My God will judge you for ruining my life. I cannot believe you are responsible for the circumstances I am currently facing. Felix, you are wicked, and you will reap this evil that you have sown very soon." Bob cried uncontrollably, and Princess Adana took him away. Thereafter, Onowu summoned the youth president and the youths of the Kasasa Kingdom to the palace. When they arrived, Onowu informed them of Felix's offense and ordered the youths to burn him alive. So the youths took Felix away, beat him pitilessly, put tires on his neck, poured petrol all over his body, and just as they were about to set a fire on his body, Bob, Adana, the Queen, Onowu, and the King's cabinets arrived, and Bob hastily rushed out of the car and screamed, "No! Stop!" "Why did you prevent the youths from burning this wicked man alive?" Onowu asked. "My Queen Onowu, great people of Kasasa Kingdom, there are times in life when God would test us by putting our enemies helplessly in our palms to see what we would do to them, just as he did to David in the Bible when King Saul and his armies were pursuing to kill David and his men. God put King Saul in David's power, and David had the chance to kill King Saul, but he did not kill him. So God has already exposed and disgraced Felix. Please do not kill him, and he will be the one to lead us to the goddess's village, but he will never go unpunished. After returning from the village, we will hand him over to the police, and he will remain in police custody until I marry Princess Adana and become the king of this kingdom," Bob said. "I disagree with you, Bob. This boy is very wicked, so the youths of this kingdom must either stone him to death or burn him alive," the Queen replied. "With due respect, my Queen, Bob here is our next king. He is the heir to the throne of Kasasa Kingdom. He is like a prince. Therefore, whatever he says or decides, the people of Kasasa Kingdom will stand by his decisions because he has been chosen by the gods of our land to rule this kingdom, Onowu replied. Well, you are the Onowu, Prime Minister of this kingdom, and you know what is best for our kingdom, the Queen replied. And Felix was ultimately set free. They went to the mysterious goddess's village 2 days later, and when they arrived at the king's palace, Onowu explained the circumstances that Bob and Princess Adana were facing as a result of the mysterious goddess. The king and the elders of the village apologized to Bob and Adana for what they had been through. Following that, they requested sacrificial items such as cows and goats, among other things. Please, can we get all of these sacrificial items from this village? Onowu asked. Yes, one of the elders replied. Please, we are ready to buy them right away because we want to finish everything today, Onowu said. Thereafter, they went and bought all the sacrificial items. At midnight, Bob, Adana, Onowu and the king's cabinets went to the river where the mysterious goddess lived, along with the village's chief priest and some elders of the village, to perform the sacrifice. When they arrived at the river, the chief priest instructed Bob and Adana to step into it, and they did so in fear. Thereafter, the chief priest performed some rituals and sacrifices. After they were done with the sacrifice, they went to the king's palace and slept there. The next morning, they returned to their kingdom, and as soon as they arrived, Bob called the police and arrested Felix, as he had said. A few days after returning from the village, Bob paid Adana's bride price, and they set a date for their wedding. After Bob and Adana successfully married, they decided to make love for the first time at night. They then slept off, and as soon as they awoke, the mysterious goddess appeared to both of them in their dreams. "How dare you sleep with my husband?" the mysterious goddess asked. "Please, Ma, do not kill me. I am very sorry, but it will never happen again," Adana begged. "It is too late," the goddess responded by blowing mysterious power into Adana's eyes. "And you, despite all my warnings, you had the temerity to sleep with her," the goddess said. "Leave me alone. She is my wife, and I can do whatever I desire with her," Bob responded. The goddess became extremely angry with Bob and slapped him in his private parts before disappearing. When Adana awoke, she could not see anything because their room was very dark. "Babe, babe," she tapped Bob. "Good morning, my princess," Bob greeted. "Morning, my king. Please turn on the lights because the room is extremely dark," Adana murmured. "My princess, this room is extremely bright. I cannot see you or anything else because it is so dark here," Princess Adana murmured. "What are you saying, my princess?" "I said I cannot see you or anything in this room," Adana replied. "My princess, please, I am coming. I want to ease myself," Bob said. Bob hurriedly went to the restroom, and when he wanted to urinate, he discovered that his manhood was missing. He screamed and ran to Adana's room. "Babe, where are you? And why were you yelling?" Adana asked. "My princess, the goddess has done her worst. My manhood is missing," Bob screamed. "What? I saw her in my dream, and she was very angry with me for sleeping with you, so she blew a substance into my eyes," Adana said. "I also saw her." "Does it mean I am blind, Mummy?" Adana screamed. The queen dashed to her room, and when she arrived, Bob and Adana told her about their horrific nightmares. The queen began to cry and summoned Onowu, the king's cabinet, and the chief priest of the kingdom. A few moments later, they all arrived at the palace. "Eyes of the gods, what is going on with our princess and the heir to the throne of Kasasa Kingdom?" Onowu asked. After performing an incantation, the chief priest discovered Bob and Adana's problems. The goddess is still Bob's spiritual wife, and Bob is still wearing her wedding ring, as she is wearing his. The goddess struck the princess blind after seeing Bob's nakedness. Izemwo, what about the sacrifices we performed in the goddess's village? Onowu asked. The goddess's love for Bob goes far beyond the sacrifices, the chief priest said. So what do we do at this point? One of the king's cabinets asked. The gods have not revealed the solution to their problems, the chief priest replied. Izemwo, that is what you have always said, and we are tired, Onowu said. Della decided to visit Adana's kingdom 2 days after hearing the shocking news about Bob and Adana. When she arrived at the kingdom, Bob and Adana explained everything to her, and she was very touched. Please be prepared because we are going to the Amala kingdom together. After that, Della took them to her kingdom, and when they arrived, Della took them to a church and said, Princess Adana and Bob, I would like us to stay in this church for 7 days to pray and fast, because fasting and prayer has the power to break every chain and satanic covenant. So Bob, Adana and Della began fasting and praying. They fasted and prayed for 7 good days, but nothing changed. Their situations remained the same. Bob and Adana were almost losing hope, but Della kept encouraging them to have faith in God. After 2 days of fasting, Bob and Adana were about to travel to Kasasa the next day. At night, Bob slept and had a strange dream. In that dream, Bob was living under the same roof as Loveline, the goddess's incarnate, and Bob was in the living room watching football, so Loveline brought out all of her belongings. Babe, where are you going with your property? Bob asked. Bob, I am fed up with this marriage. I just suddenly lost all of my feelings and love for you. I do not love you or have even the slightest feeling for you. Here is the wedding ring. May I have mine? Are you serious, Loveline? Bob asked. Bob, give me my wedding ring. I want to leave. Your face disgusts me, Loveline said. Very well then. Take your ring and try to inform your family about the refund of your bride price, Bob said. I will refund it today, because I do not want to see you again after today, Loveline said. After that, Loveline refunded the bride price, and before she left, she warned Bob not to step foot in her kingdom. After she left, Bob drove out, and before Bob returned to the house, fire burnt down the entire house. He did not care about the house at all. He just got into his car and drove away, and as soon as he did, he awoke from his sleep. My princess, wake up. Bob tapped Adana, and when Adana woke up, her eyes were restored. I can see, my king. I can see you. My princess, are you serious? Bob asked. You are wearing a blue shirt, and the room is painted pink, Adana said. Wait, I want to confirm something very significant, Bob said. Bob checked his trousers and discovered that his manhood had been restored. They were overjoyed. Thereafter, Della, Prince Obi, Prince Dan, and Obi's parents, the king and queen of Amala Kingdom, came out and rejoiced with them, after which Bob told them the dream. It is over between you and the goddess. The dream indicated that she has permanently left you. The king of Amala's kingdom said, What God cannot do does not exist, Della said. A few days after Bob and Adana returned from Amala Kingdom, they crowned Bob and Adana as king and queen of Kasasa Kingdom. 3 days later, Bob released Felix from police custody and gave him 1 million to put into his business. Thank you very much, my king. You have a heart of gold. I never expected anything good from you because of the tragedies I caused you. You are a good man, and may you live a long life, my king. Felix said, It is okay, Felix. It is not good to repay evil with evil, so I sincerely forgive you and hold no grudge against you. You are always welcome in my palace at any time, Bob said. A month later, Prince Obi and Princess Della performed their traditional marriage. On their wedding day, Prince Dan arrived with his fiancée Loveline to greet Bob and Adana. "Your Majesties, please meet my fiancée Loveline," Prince Dan said. "Your what?" Adana and Bob asked simultaneously. "My fiancé, is there a problem?" Dan asked, confused. Bob and Adana took him out of Loveline's presence. "What is going on?" Loveline asked, very confused. Why were they acting strangely when he introduced me to them? "My prince, that girl is the goddess incarnate. She has appeared to me numerous times, so please get rid of her immediately," Bob said. "How? I don't understand." "Loveline is a goddess. She has haunted Bob and me in our dreams as well as in reality," Adana replied. "This is unbelievable. I do not think she is the one because this is her first time in Nigeria." "Excuse me, let me call her because we need to resolve this mysterious case here," Dan responded while going to call Loveline. A moment later, Loveline arrived. "Loveline, please be sincere. Do you know the king and queen of the Kasasa kingdom?" Dan asked. "Certainly not. This is my first time seeing them," Loveline replied. "Loveline, why are you such a pretty liar? Have you forgotten the first time I met you at a restaurant?" Bob asked. "Meet who, Your Majesty? This is my first time in Nigeria," Loveline replied. "She is lying. Let me explain how I met her." Flashback. A year ago, Bob and his friends were drinking and eating at a restaurant when Loveline walked in and ordered food and drinks for herself, and Bob could not stop staring at her. "Bob! Bob! Bob!" Rex, Bob's friend, called. "Bob, are you all right?" Felix asked. Yes, I am okay," Bob replied. "Bob, you've been staring at that girl since she came here." "I hope it's not what I'm thinking," Rex said. "Guys, that girl just grabbed my attention, and she completely captured my heart. Guys, I am coming, and I want to meet that girl," Bob said. He left their table. "Oh my God, the girl is damn cute," Felix said. "I swear, she is even more beautiful than Della, his late fiancée," Rex replied. When Bob got to the girl's table, he said, "Hi, pretty." "Good day, sir," Loveline greeted. "Good day. May I join you if you do not mind?" "Pretty sure. Please sit," she replied. "Thank you very much." "You're welcome. So, what's your name?" she asked. "My name is Bob. What about you?" "I am Loveline." "Wow, what an angelic name." "Loveline, I must admit that you are as pretty as a speckled pup, and your cuteness is beyond comparison. I have seen many girls, but I have never seen a girl as beautiful and adorable as you are," Bob said. "Oh, thank you. You are also very handsome." "Thank you, Loveline. Do you live in this town?" "No, I live in Texas, USA, but I am from this state. I just came here for a very important project," she responded. "Wow, that is amazing. So how long do you intend to stay in Nigeria?" "Just a week, and I believe I will have completed my missions and returned abroad," she replied. End of flashback. "That is how I met and fell in love with her," Bob said. "Your Majesty, that must be a dream because Loveline has never been to Nigeria before, despite the fact that her parents are from Nigeria. She was born and raised in the United Kingdom, where I met her, and she came to Nigeria as a result of my brother's marriage," Prince Dan responded. "This is quite unbelievable," Adana muttered. "Prince Dan, you must summon the chief priest after this occasion to confirm whether she is a goddess or a human, as I still find it extremely difficult to believe that she is a human. Please, I do not want you to go through what my wife and I went through at the hands of that mysterious goddess," Bob said. "Your Majesty, "I will do exactly as you have said," Dan replied. Dan summoned the chief priest 3 days after the successful wedding. "Eyes of the gods, the king and queen of Kasasa Kingdom, told me that my fiancé here is the mysterious goddess who has haunted them. So please confirm whether what they said about her is true or not," Dan said. The chief priest then recited an incantation and said, "She is not a goddess. However, the goddess used her face and name to torment the king and queen of the Kasasa Kingdom, so she is human." "Oh, thank God," Dan said. A week after Della's wedding, Adana's kingdom gifted her a mansion in their kingdom, and the street where the house was located was named Princess Della Street. One morning, Bob's best friend Felix was about to take Bob and Adana's photo to a deadly shrine to kill them, but he had a terrible accident and died instantly. A few months later, Della received an Excellence and Humanitarian Award, and Dan married Loveleen the same month. Eventually, Princess Della and Queen Adana gave birth to twins in the same week but on different days, and they lived blissfully.